Hey guys, Audi555 here. Today I'm installing this USB plug which has two 2.1 amp connectors inside it to my Honda CTX700. Now if you haven't seen my other video where you pull apart the side fairings or the tank covers to get them off, go and check that out if you want to do this. Alright, so this plug here is your accessories plug. On a naked model it doesn't have any cord attached to it. I've just removed it from here, but just to show you how to get this plug apart from the dummy connector, you just need to put a fingernail under here, and then you just pull the connector out. I've just connected a voltmeter here. There's 6 pins in this connector, but there's only 2 wires that go into it. The 2 wires are a green and a purple with red line on it. The green is negative and the purple is positive. I'll just show you here the voltmeter. There's no volts there, but when you switch the ignition on, we've now got 12 volts coming through that. So you've got a couple of different options to power it. The simplest way is to connect your power to that plug and then run it straight into your USB ports and then into your device. So when you turn your ignition on, it comes on. Like this, and starts charging. The other option is to run a relay through this, so it only draws a small amount of power to power up a relay, which is like a light switch which will turn on or off depending if it's got power in it, and then run the power direct from the battery via the relay to your front of the bike to charge your devices. That's the better option because then you're not putting any strain on these tiny wires in here. Although if you're only using it for USB charging, 7.5 amps is what these wires are rated for. It's more than enough. So what I've got here is a relay with a relay harness or wiring harness. I'll just pull that apart so you can see. So this bit here is a relay which is like an on-off switch that instead of being, let's say, like a light switch in your house that's activated by you turning the light on and off, this is activated by electricity going through it. So if electricity flows through from here and then comes out of here, then it activates an internal switch in that and it will make a click. And it's bridging a circuit, and the circuit it's bridging is these two. So if power goes in here and out there, then power can go from this one and out that one. So what that means is when you've connected this and it's got power going into it, such as when you've hooked it up to your accessory harness there, so when you've turned your ignition on, that outputs power. So one will go in there and the other one will come out. This will make a click, which will mean that power from here, which might be your positive battery, so positive going into that, then comes out of here, which you can continue that positive wire. It means that with this, you can turn the on-off side of this on with this 12 volts that's coming out of your accessories, but the draw will be coming out of your battery that's going up to charge your USB. The reason for that is that it's thicker wire and it takes the burden off that. So this just goes in like this, and then these two white ones, they're not positive and negative, they could be either. They go into here. So I'll just show you the sound that this makes. It's just a clicking noise. Now if you don't have an accessory port like this on your bike, you can do the same thing but just using like the tail light or a headlight wire. Now for me, I've got all of this on the back here and I really don't feel like pulling all of this off to get to the side cowling where the wires are for the rear lights, and it just makes it simpler for me just to use this port which is easily accessible. So to make a nice neat connection into that, I'm using this dummy plug here. So in the back here there's these blanking caps, and you can push them out. I'm just using an Allen key, but you can push them out with anything that reaches. And I'm just pushing out the back corner once. And now with these little plugs removed, I can run wires through this and it will still be all nice and neat. If you had the right connectors, this would be the right time to put them on the ends of the wires, but I don't have them, so I'm just going to jam these wires into here and make sure that they're firm enough so they're not going to fall out. Alright, so now I've got a nice clean, neat connection with the wires all tucked in nicely like that. With this harness it's got a centre wire, just to make it compatible for ones that do have one. This one doesn't have it, so there's no need to have that wire, so you can snip it off or use a tool and remove that wire. Alright, we're going to zip tie the harness in, just through that top circle and that top loop there on that bracket. Now the relay's in here, the harness is hooked up to the accessory port. Now we've got these two wires here. Now this will go to your positive line. So positive will come from your battery into here and then back out of here towards your USB. And the negative will continue its way as if nothing happened. Now I just remembered I've got some heat shrink, so it's advisable to put it over these cables here. So I'm going to just quickly dismantle this. So I wasn't really happy with how that was, just jamming it in there. It just seemed too loose, so I've scrapped that idea. I've just removed these two cables and I'm going to solder them to the relay instead, and then put the heat shrink over the top to keep it waterproof. Alright, with the relay sorted now, the next bit is to put the USB port in here. So for this one, it's a nice square shape and it will fit nicely in this section here. So I'm just going to run the cables through down the bottom here because this is too big to just feed through the bottom here. So it's easier to put the wires through first. Right, I've just wedged that in there. It's not held in or anything, but that seems to be a really good spot for it. It sits in there nice and firm. It's got a cap so it's waterproof, so that's a good spot for it. And with the cap opening inwards, it's going to be relatively easy to open, and when I've got things plugged in there it's not going to be in the way of the screen or flapping about here. Right, so that cable's routed from the top there, it goes down, pops out of here, goes underneath, comes back around here, comes under here, and down here. This is the cable here, and just zip tied here, zip tied there, tucked underneath all of this here and out to the battery. So the negative goes to the battery and this positive will go to the battery, but I snip it here and run a cable from that to one of the relays and then back again to where the cable is cut. I want the fuse to end up underneath the seat, so if I ever need to check that, it's easy to get to. So this loop is where the battery is going to be hooked onto, and then I'm going to cut here. So I've got some extra cable here, so this will run from here to the relay, and then another lead from the other side of the relay back to the main wire here, which then runs to the battery. Alright, so that's all soldered up now. It's pretty dodgy, but it's on there tight. Then we just put the heat shrink over it, and then shrink it down with the soldering iron. And there we go. Nice tight waterproof connection. So the fuse is down there and I've just routed the wire here, so I know how long to cut it. Now it doesn't matter which wire you connect it to, it's all going to be in the same loop anyway. Be careful with your soldering iron if you've got a flame soldering iron, like I do, because that thing there is full of fuel, so make sure your cap's on. So as a quick rehash of everything before I finish it up, you got a positive that goes from the positive side on the battery to one of the yellow plugs here on the relay, back out of the relay, and then into the USB cord that goes all the way up to here, to the USB at the top. For the negative, it just goes from the negative all the way through the normal cable all the way up to the USB at the top. The other two wires from the relay go into the negative and positive from the accessories port, and what that means is it draws power from the battery only when the accessory port is turned on, i.e. when the ignition is on. So let's complete this and see if it all works. Brilliant. Now it's time to put all the side fairings back on. I probably didn't need to take this side off, I just wanted to see what it was like underneath. Just drop my screw from here into somewhere. I have to pull it all apart now. And there we go guys, successfully installed a USB charger for the Honda CTX700N. There was obviously a couple of ways you could do this. I've chosen this option because I prefer that, but you could go that other option by just running it straight off the accessories port and not worry about your additional relay. So it wasn't too hard to take the fairings off, just got to be gentle with it, but I didn't break it, I didn't cause any damage to any of the clips, and if you just did what I did, you should be okay. So now when I go for a ride now, I can just turn this ignition on and there we go, it kicks in. There's a little bit of a delay, but that's alright. So it starts charging the phone, and it does that when I'm riding as well, so that's always good. And with this USB port in here, there's two plugs, so I can charge my phone, I can charge my camera if I've got it there, or stick a phone in my little glove compartment and put my TomTom GPS there and charge that on the go. Alright guys, that's it for today's video with the Honda CTX700 and the USB install. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Laters.